Hi everybody, this is our first sort of garden walk through our spring bulbs. We're going to have the daffodils and we have some lilies coming up here. Actually over here we have a lot of the daffodils come up here, but if you look back over here a little bit, we have our tiny Todd lilies coming out of here over here. And we have a little Peonies that's doing quite well over there. Bunch of nice, beautiful little tulips coming up over here. There, that's just cool. This garden will fill out like crazy. We have a lot of phlox, and this thing just fills up with lilies. Looks like we have a couple ferns coming up out of here. And these are Pyracantha bushes. No berries on them yet, but you can actually see that we have quite a few of the thorns coming out of here and everything. But this thing fills up with beautiful orange berries a little later on in the year. This is the next door neighbors. Pear tree. This is a German pear. You can see the flowers are starting to set. We have our Miskim lilacs here. Quite a few of these here in the yard. And there's the neighbor's Bradford pear over there. Next to that, we have the neighbor's cherry trees. Here's our Hydrangea bush. Just starting to come in there. You can see all the green coming out of there. Our daffodils coming out of the bottom. Another Miskim lilac here. Starting to get down here. A couple of boxwoods here. You can start seeing all the lilies of the valley starting to poke up. Some ferns kicking up in here. Ferns are doing quite well this year so far. A couple. The Hostas starting to poke their heads out of the ground. Lilies. We have an Alberta spruce in there. He's just doing quite well. These Arborvitae were in the house when we bought the house, but they were about 5 feet tall. So over the course of 9 years, they've actually tripled in size. So it's kind of cool. A little bit of cleaning up to do. All my little garden lights are still not set up yet correctly. It looks like somebody was digging for some grubs over here. We have hollies. There's a pair of hollies. It's a prince and a princess. Here's another Peonies. Some lilies back there. We have a gold mound Arborvitae over there. Another couple hollies. Another Peony. All the irises are poking their heads out over here. All the little hostas. The Rose of Sharon hasn't really done much. It looks like you can see the buds starting to come out of here a little bit. But over here you can see one of our 9-barks. These 9-barks are just prolific. They're doing quite well. There's a little gold mound in front of it. Some tulips in the middle of there a little bit. But these hostas are really coming in strong. A couple more boxwoods in here. Another 9-bark. There's another spruce. It's not an Alberta spruce. I can't remember what this one is. And then we have some more hostas coming down over here. These are all the viburnum. These are just going to fill with flowers in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Bunch of daffodils. Some more ferns coming in here. This is going to be beautiful. This is a fancy fern. I can't remember what it's called. See the hostas kicking in the back there. Irises, they look like they're all happy over there. Got a couple nice blue junipers in here. So hydrangeas starting to grow. Here's our eastern redbud. You can see the redbud is starting to bloom with the little buds just coming on the branches here. Let's see if we can get that to focus in a little bit. Oh, it looks like it's getting it nice. And here is one of my experiments. This was a Charlie Brown Canadian hemlock. We bought this when it was completely broken down off the top. Lowe's sold it to us for $3 because it was not expected to make it and live, but it looks like it's going to be a gorgeous specimen. A perfect little willowy looking Canadian hemlock. A bunch of daffodils coming here. The spireas are still coming in a little slow back there. We've got some spireas in the back there. It's a chokeberry. We have a climbing hydrangea that's in here. And then we have some trumpet vine, the sharing with the climbing hydrangea. That climbing hydrangea is going to do very well. It's very healthy looking. And we have a couple more of the blue junipers. These are going to be gorgeous. They're going to do exactly what I wanted them to do, is to go and block off this corner of the driveway. Peony is doing quite well over here. This was a gift, this peony, and it looks like it's going to be a nice big healthy peony this year. And we have a ground creeping Arborvitae over here. And a sedum coming in there. And this is going to be a garden we're going to put over here. This is where I emptied all my pots from last year. And I'm going to turn this into a garden. I'm going to have to pull this pine tree out of here. Maybe two of these pine trees got to go. And we're going to turn this into a garden. Sort of mimic what we have on the other side over there. This is our garden that we always sort of try and figure out how we're going to make this grow. We've got a whole bunch of border lilies. They're coming in quite well over here. A bunch of daffodils in here. I know there's a lot of tulips in here, but I don't see too many of them poking heads through here. Here and there a little bit. We've got some sage coming out there. Oh, the bird nests. They're alive. I didn't think those bird nests would make it, but they're doing quite well. You can see the bird nest got a lot of little new growth in there, and that's actually kind of cool. And this guy, I don't know if anybody knows what this is, but that's horseradish. I planted that from a store-bought horseradish that looked like it was going a little bit rancid. I said, well, let's stick it in the ground, see what it's going to do. And it's just grown great, and we'll be able to take that. These are going to be some beautiful tulips. I'm not sure what kind those are. They're unusual that they have the big flared out leaves like that, but this, I can see the flowers already starting to come up on those. We have a little bit more daffodils coming over here. And here's one of our little experiments. We had a big, beautiful Austrian pine over here, and it just died out on us. They had got the pine blight. So I hooked up the tree to the back of my truck and pulled it out of the ground. And we made this garden here instead. So we have a nice little ring of boxwoods. And for the spring, we have tulips and daffodils. You can see that the daffodils are already all spent. But as they come in, there's a lot more daffodils and tulips coming in and around the back. When those start to die back, you can start to see some of the hydrangeas start coming in the back there. And this is a strawberry and cream hydrangea. That looks like a lot of beautiful buds coming out of that thing. It's going to be quite healthy. I'll just poke around over here behind the sailboat, and you can see how all our hostas are starting to come in here. That's what we're going to do here. This is kind of one of the way we're going to go and get the weeds to die back here a little bit, is just to fill it all with hostas, stop the grass from growing. And this is all underneath another one of our viburnum hedges a little bit here. It's going to be like beautiful. As you can see on this side of the property here, we have a full hedge of Arborvitae all the way from the street all the way past the house, which makes it beautiful. It hides the neighbor's house from us. Which also comes over here, so we start seeing some of our hostas. We have daffodils coming here. We have a couple of these little grape hyacinths. We have some beautiful blue hostas in here. Back there, those are native Illinois poppies. There's 1, 2, and then there's another one over there. Those are planted there. They were a gift from friends of ours. And then we have a bunch of hostas coming in here. They look so alien as they come out of the ground. These look like these, almost like asparagus spears. These hostas coming in here. But some of these have really progressed quite a bit. Got a couple of lilies coming in here. Looks like some birds are digging for bugs over here. And some hostas here. This is definitely room for an improvement over here. We're going to be probably going to have to do some more cleaning up here, removing some of the weeds. We'll come around the backside here, and this is just our little juniper bed here underneath our big birch. And we have some lilies coming in over here. We had a couple columbines coming in here, some daffodils, some lilies. Got some more junipers underneath here. I'll walk around the backside over here. And you can see that we have a bunch of azaleas over here, some hydrangeas in here, some more tulips, daffodils. We have a snowball viburnum in here. And then we have a nice bed of daffodils and tulips. It's a gorgeous color of the tulips. Nice little coral colored. Some more grape hyacinths bedding here. We have the hydrangeas. They're all full of buds all over the place. There's another snowball viburnum. We have another dogwoods in here. Tulips, daffodils. There's another snowball viburnum right there. This is just an absolutely gorgeous tree that comes in here. Another boxwood. And we have some gorgeous tulips coming up here. I can see that these are the parrots coming up in here. Some parrots already coming out. Some sedums. This is our waste tank area, so we've tried and done our best to sort of hide this. But we have some lilies coming up over in here, tulips, daffodils, bleeding hearts are coming in here. I only see, well, I see the two bleeding hearts in here, and I see a bunch of peonies coming out here. We have a Peonies over here. A bunch of tiny Todds. Lilies coming out. They're going to do really well this year. Looks like we have a lot more columbine this year than we had last year. I see about 7 or 8 columbines. Still not the 100 that I planted 3 years ago. But who knows, who knew that a perennial columbine is only perennial because it reseeds itself. News to me. There's some beautiful tulips here. Let me just zoom in on this a little bit. This is just absolutely gorgeous. It's just fantastic. We have a couple hellebores in here. Oops, sorry about that. Just gonna look at this, how gorgeous these hellebores are. Look at that. It's just beautiful hellebores. Here's some nice lilies. He's going to be rather impressive looking. Some more columbines in over here. I think this is going to be a good year for columbines. Some more boxwoods in here. Got a couple Peonies. The Weigelias are starting to come in. You can see the leaves come out. Look at these beautiful tulips. Look at these flowers. We've got a couple clematis growing here. They're doing quite well. We're going to be very happy with these clematis. Another Weigelia. A couple more boxwoods. Some catmint. That's catmint in case any of you didn't know that is. Some more lilies. The daffodils are already spent. Some beautiful parrot tulips are coming up. And there's another Weigelia. Let me just back out of here. This is some of our spring baskets that we did earlier in the year. We went up to the nursery and we planted these spring baskets. We've got hit by a frost a few times, so they're doing quite well, all things considered. We've had to replace a few plants here and there, but all in all, it's still not a bad deal. Got some lilies coming up here in front here. These are the standard green spireas. They're doing well. Got some daffodils and some tulips coming in here. This garden is a lot further behind than the ones up front that are already spent. This is a much different zone over here. This comes up so late. So we have this in here where this is still all in transition. We're running a little late this year. The weather just didn't cooperate. So we have a couple of fun things that we're going to work on here. This year I bought myself an Australian tree fern. This is super cool. And we have a couple peony trees that we're going to plant still. That's over here. And there's a fuchsia that's going to be planted over there. That's a fuchsia tree. And then we have some pincushions. This is a peony tree, an actual peony tree, not an Edo. We have that in there. Some tulips, daffodils. Look at those daffodils. Aren't they just gorgeous with the double colors in there? The inner side is so orange. And these tulips are opening up, and it's just beautiful tulips. That's the last spirea that I left over here. I took a whole row. This used to be all spireas all over in here. And I decided that I just had enough of spireas over here that this garden needed a new life to it. So we pulled out the spireas except for the one in the corner, and we put in a couple other Arborvitae and put some hydrangeas in here, a couple boxes, and see how that works out. Let's go in the back. Alright, this is the back. This is our vegetable garden, but before the veggies grow, what we do is we just plant a bunch of tulips and daffodils in here, and we use them as cuttings that we can bring them in the house and just cut. So we have nice some cut daffodils and tulips mostly to bring them in the house and have them sitting on the table. So that's just a fun thing to do. Just a couple of bags of tulips, just put them in the vegetable garden, and it looks a lot nicer to have their tulips in there than have it look like this, waiting for your veggies to get planted for the year. We had a couple little extras. We threw them in over here, and there you are. They're just coming up there. As I said, these are our Arborvitae. I planted these Arborvitae. I bought these at Costco. They were $20. They were 5 foot tall 6 years ago, and you can see how well they grow with careful water. This is a whole hedge of dogwoods that we have over here. We have some over here. These are what they call walking onions. As they get taller, the tops get heavy, and what happens is that they just fall to the ground, and then they see themselves where they fall, and then you'll have onions all over the place. As you can see, you have onions over here, 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 here. We got some lilies. There's going to be beautiful lilies coming up over here. There's some other plants coming up here. I'm not sure what that one is. That might be a dog. I have to go and look at it a little later. I might have to pull it out of there, but it looks like it's a dogwood. We have a hydrangea. That's a gorgeous hydrangea in there. That's an all-white hydrangea. That's just beautiful. And we have a peony in there too somewhere. Where is a peony coming up? I don't see it. I know it'll come up in a minute. Well, not a minute. Next week or so. A couple roses. These are quite well. You can see that they're nice and healthy, all green. So this is our weeping birch. It's just got the not the birch. It's a pussy willow, weeping pussy willow. That's what it's called. We have our peonies over here. That big peony in the back there. 2 peonies and a whole bunch of lilies. Now these are the giant lilies. These will grow to 6-7 feet tall. These are fantastic lily specimens. We've got a couple of sage coming in here. And this is our last living rhododendron. Some more of the these are all fancy hydrangeas. They escape me right now. Right, we have a strawberry and cream, and we have a few other hydrangeas here. The tags are all gone. I can't remember off the top of my head. Bunch of lilies, some tulips. Iris is starting to come in here. All the iris is doing quite well. Lilies, irises. Hoops are already ready for the big lilies. Iris is doing quite well. This is a bright white rose tree. This is just gorgeous. This whole thing fills up with white flowers. It just becomes a big spray. Tulips. There's irises that are coming in over here. Oh, this is a beauty berry that we planted, and it's doing quite well this year. We got some irises and some more peonies coming in here. Lilies, peonies, daffodils, tulips. I don't see any of the dianthus yet. I don't know if they're going to come in. Oh, I see a couple dianthus. So there we have That's this garden so far for this walk. I'm going to flip it around. Walk the other side. This is just full of lilies. This is just a bunch of daylilies all over the place here. And we have a golden smoke bush over here. And Leonard on that side has a purple smoke bush over there. And we have a bunch of catmint here. A lot of lilies, custom lilies. Chokeberry. And shortly we'll have a whole bunch of raspberries coming here. This is a big raspberry garden right over here. Cut them down hard this spring. That's all daylilies in there. And there's tulips coming in there as well. Mostly daffodils. Some lilies and tulips over here. Some hydrangeas. And then this whole area over here, this is all going to be filled in with native hibiscus. And this is a bloomerang. This is a bloomerang, and so this is a bloomerang lilac. Those are called ever blooming. It just will start to bloom and never stop blooming. We got some irises in over here, and this is a variegated dogwood over here. Had to cut that down hard a little bit. It wasn't doing well, but it looks like it's recovering quite well. There's our trumpet back there in the background there. That's going to grow crazy this year. We don't even see it yet, but we have some Nipophias, the poker plants, more lilies, daffodils. That's an Edo peony, a rose bush, some more border lilies. Those border lilies are doing quite well. It's a nice little border. Got some daffodils, tulips. There's another variegated dogwood back there. And here is our magnolia. It's just starting to come in. There's another mischem lilac down here. This is a common hydrangea. This is just gorgeous. This is the kind that blooms on old wood. So this is going to be a fantastic showing of this. And we have another vanilla and cream hydrangea over here. This is a Wisteria. Not a Wisteria. Wisteria. This is Wisteria, and I've trained that along the railing here. In about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's going to be a big, huge, massive blue flowers. But what you can see the flowers, the leaves on already, that's the honeysuckle. We may have to go and cut this back a little hard here. We're not really sure how we're going to handle this and what we're going to do on this. But this is just becoming a little bit unmanageable. But it's sort of a tough decision because it's so beautiful when it's all full of flowers, and the hummingbirds just love the honeysuckle. There's a yellow honeysuckle in here which doesn't perform as well, and it comes in a lot later, so it always seems like to be the poor second cousin. Got some giant Asiatic lilies coming in here. This is going to be a beautiful show for those this year. We have our boxes coming over here. We've got a couple fancy boxwoods in here. Ursa planted those. We have we have poppy in here. There's a poppy over on the other side. We walked right past it. It was underneath the magnolia. I guess the magnolia distracted me. You can see the peonies really going to be a big show this year. There's a couple more peonies. And you can see these Asiatic lilies over here are absolutely enormous. They just get to be like 6 feet tall, and they're white and purple polka dots. It's absolutely gorgeous. Nice stand of the giant daffodils. They just started to bloom. They're looking good. We have some that are spent, but a couple tulips coming out there in the back. Of our little pom-pom. He's doing quite well. We're going to have to probably figure out what we're going to do with him because it looks like he's got a giant bunch of new growth. And this is our 4th jar of grape jelly for the orioles. We have between 6 and 10 orioles that come here all day long. And I put the feeder out here for the hummingbirds, and they've actually been already at it, so that's kind of cool. We have the tulips out here, the chives always, every year, they are just keep repeating. Another peony over here, We have some more lilies, tulips. Then I have my rhubarb coming in. Looks like the rhubarb is doing quite well. We got a couple more horseradish in here over here. And we have some more hydrangeas. We have a couple Alberta spruces that I'm going to topiary out a little later. I'll make a video on how I topiary out these spruces. They come out quite well. And you can see my pride and joy Japanese maple, the lacewing Japanese maple, is coming in quite well, and it's going to do quite well. So that concludes the tour of the garden for May 10th, 2018.